Good morning, everybody. It's Captain Phil here. Today we're going to talk a little bit about topsails. We've had a chance just recently to set topsails, and there's been some questions about the hows and wherefores of topsails, so let's get into it and talk about it. So for us to set topsails takes about an hour. On a good day, maybe a little less, but generally I would prepare for an hour to set topsails, and then you have to have time to enjoy them, and then it's probably another hour to take them down again. So when we set topsails, we need a whole bunch of things to sort of come in line and align up so that we can have time to do this. The crew need to be trained to go aloft. We need to have good weather and light winds. We have to have the distance to be able to travel for that hour, and we have to be in not too much traffic around and have things fairly calm surrounding the ship so we can concentrate on what's going on up aloft. Once we made the decision to set topsails, the topsail teams are picked for the day, and people have to climb up aloft. You can see there's people up working today, putting topsails away from our work the other day. There can't be too much wave motion for the ship because it's standing up there is like being on the bottom of a pendulum. So it may only be moving 1 or 2 feet on deck, but it could be 4 or 5 feet up aloft, back and forth. So when we set topsails, we generally will set the gaff topsails first, so that it requires people to go aloft. So 2 people up each mast, and they'll have to take the stops off the sail and get it ready to set. They have to throw lines down. They have to take lines off the gaff and tie it onto the sail, and then sort of get everything ready, and that does take time, especially when you're new at it. You have to figure out where all the attachment points are and how to lead the lines, and it's easy to stand on deck and look up and know how to do it, but it's a completely different thing when you're standing on the spreaders looking 90 feet down on the deck, on a pitching deck. So it changes your perspective of things. Once the 2 gaff topsails are set, we'll clean up the ship, and then we'll set the flying jib or the outer jib, and then the fisherman. The fisherman's generally the last one to do and the first one to come down. It's set free, so there's not many stays on it. So therefore, if the wind picks up, it's much more difficult to get down. It requires most of the hands at one time to get the sail under control and safely on the deck. So sometimes we'll do different combinations of those. We may just set the main topsail and the flying jib. The fore topsail is quite complicated to set if we have a lot of tacking back and forth to do. The crew have to go up and untie sheets and pull the tack lines over, so it does get complicated, especially for a first time or a second time topsail person up there. So you'll see different sail combinations, and it often depends what we expect the wind to do, what the traffic is going to be like, what the navigation on the ship is going to be like. So set as much as we can. The fantastic thing is when the ship is under full sail, there's 11,000 square feet of sail, and she's basically a full wall of canvas from the end of the bowsprit to the top of each mast and out to the end of the boom. So as you see from the photos, it's a beautiful thing to see. It's quite spectacular to me. We do it in light airs and sometimes in moderate airs with a well-trained crew, but to look at the old footage and see what the racing crews did it in is just spectacular. I do have a deep appreciation for how strong those men were and their abilities to work up aloft and to keep the topsails under control. That's topsails in a nutshell, and hope you're all having a good day.